Previously on the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast.
My pick for December, let's review another anthology. This time a holiday anthology, the Wintertime Paradox.
Yay!
By Dave Rudden.
Oh,
and
brilliant.
Even though he's a friend of the show, we're going to do our best to review this one fairly.
Yes, yeah.
And without bias.
Yeah.
It's available in hardcover, paperback, digitally, as well as an audiobook read by Sophie Aldred.
Yeah.
And careful if you get the hardcover, because there's an additional story which is meant to function as a cold open to the collection called Canaries, which is available in the paperback and audio versions, but not included in hardcover.
Oh, okay.
And now our story continues.
Welcome, everyone, to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. This is Matt in Minnesota.
Chris in South London.
Merry Christmas, Chris, and Happy New Year. And for those who celebrate, Happy December.
Yes.
Otherwise.
Yes.
We have a ton of Doctor Who news that has broken since we've last spoken, including Millie Gibson being announced as the new companion, Ruby Sunday. Have you seen much of her work?
No, I have not. So I think you know far more about her than I do.
Yeah, she just ended quite a run on Coronation Street. She played Kelly Nealon, daughter of Rick Nealon, and briefly a fiancé to Aldi, Dev's son. She was in 215 episodes between 2019 and 2022. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit of her work. I think she's a good actress, although, near the end of her run, I was a little tired of her character by that point. If you look at the Corey wiki, at everything her character's been through, it's exhausting. It's everything from being kidnapped to being on trial for the murder of someone to trying to arrange a hit on Gary Windust and also experiencing homelessness. So
right.
She's been through the ringer. Her vibe on Corey was very much Billie Piper-esque, so we'll see whether that carries over to the new series or if she's playing a different kind of part.
Yeah, and there's a good history of companion actors with soap backgrounds, so she's carrying on a noble tradition.
Yeah, including Bradley Walsh. He had a stint on Corey back in the day.
Yes, that's not what I think of him as, but yes, you were quite right. Yes.
And then we also recently had the 59th anniversary of Doctor Who and Doctor Who Day.
Yeah.
And Big Finish have announced an 8-part 60th anniversary adventure called Once and Future, which stars Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, Christopher Eccleston, and David Tennant. So that's quite the collection with dozens more guest cast to be revealed. And apparently it's been 3+ years in the making as well. And that's going to release monthly with the first 7 parts materializing between May and October of 2023. And then the final part doesn't air or doesn't get released until November 2024.
Yeah.
And I wonder why we have to wait a year for that last part. And just speculation, but I'm wondering if it has something to do with, David Tennant being back as the 14th Doctor.
Yeah, I assume there must be something like that, or some kind of tie-in or something, isn't there?
Yeah, because I would think maybe there's a contractual clause or something that, a year out from his appearances as the Doctor, then he can go back to Big Finish or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of guesswork. But Chris Eccleston's participation is really exciting. But it also makes me think maybe this isn't a multi-Doctor adventure where each of them have their own go or whatever.
Yeah.
It is available to pre-order on Big Finish's website. And then speaking of anniversary celebrations, Doctor Who magazine has started a new 14th Doctor comic strip called Liberation of the Daleks, which is going to be 13 parts long and written by Alan Barnes, who previously wrote The Infinite Quest for David Tennant's Doctor and features art by Lee Sullivan. It picks up immediately after the regeneration, and it will be the longest-running strip in DWM's history. And I guess despite being in 13 parts, it will cover just the first hour of the Doctor's new regeneration.
Yeah.
And it also features the first appearance of the Daleks in the comic strip in over 20 years.
Yes. And also, I'll say this rather cryptically, so as not to spoil anything. I can argue that it features my dad.
I have to wait for that issue to come out. And
It's in the first issue.
oh, was he at the...
Yes.
That's really cool he attended that in person.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I'm anticipating that sometime over the next year, the TARDIS interior is going to change, because right now it's still the crystal stenza interior, and the Doctor's still using the Sheffield steel Sonic as well. So, some exciting news for things in this anniversary year on the horizon.
Yeah.
Some book news to share, and all 4 of the titles I'm about to mention were in true Doctor Who book publication fashion, delayed from their original 2022 announcement dates and pushed back into 2023. So first up, we have Fugitive Doctor Origins by Jodie Hauser from Titan, which is collecting that miniseries. That is coming out now a month later than expected, now due out January 10th. The Ultimate Comic Strip Collection of the Daleks, Volume 2 from Panini, has also been delayed a couple of months. It will now release on February 14th. And I'm wondering if that has to do with, for a couple of the strips, they were seeking higher quality artwork from private collectors. So I wonder if that played into the delay there. And then Rebellion on Treasure Island by Bali Ray is now due out on April 20th. And this is the 4th in the Penguin Crossover Classics line. And then finally, the Target novelization The Zygon Invasion by Peter Harness is now due out on July 13th. So no new announcements yet about new book ranges or anything like that from the new production team, but it's really cool that those 4 titles are still getting published. So
Yeah.
I think that brings us to Show and Tell.
Yeah. For Show and Tell this month, I'd been doing a little bit of driving, and so I thought what I'll do is I'll listen to A Big Finish. And I chose Medicinal Purposes, which is a Colin Baker story, and also features Leslie Phillips, who's an actor quite well known in the UK who sadly passed away in November. And Medicinal Purposes is a story of Burke and Hare, who are 2 quite famous people from Edinburgh's murky past. They're kind of like body snatchers. Yeah, it also as well features David Tennant in one of his last Doctor Who roles.
As Daft Jamie, right?
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think there's a few things that I think possibly if it was being written now, maybe the Daft Jamie story or aspects of that might have been done slightly differently. There's some good, chewy moral arguments in there, and I found it gripping.
And that's with Evelyn.
It is. Have you heard that one? Or?
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah,
and I think it plays into some of her history professor bits as well, if I recall.
Yes, it does. Though I do sometimes kind of think, does the Doctor just memorise any kind of like weird murder thing that has happened in the history of Earth or other planets, just in case he...
Depending on the writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's good. And also, I do love Edinburgh stuff anyway, so I was likely to enjoy it. But I thoroughly recommend it. With that caveat of maybe they might do Daft Jamie differently these days. And also as well, I think it's fair to say it goes into themes that are not for all the family.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. Some of their, especially Big Finish's earlier work, it's a little bit more...
This is dark.
Boundary pushing, kind of similar to what the Eighth Doctor Adventures and New Adventures were doing.
Yes, yeah. So, how about you? What have you got?
So, I've got a book to share this month. I received Doctor Who and the Daleks by David Whittaker. And this is the new version with new illustrations by Robert Hack. And Robert was interviewed in both DWM recently, and then also by the Panel to Panel podcast.
Yeah.
Check out those interviews with him. This is the third time the book has been illustrated and my third time buying it. So Robert Hack is based in Pennsylvania, and he contributed over 50 paintings to this collection, and he has a really unique working style too in terms of how he creates the paintings and does things in slightly different order than traditional painters do, which is interesting and produces a kind of a Warren effect. And he's contributed to Doctor Who several times over the years, including painting a number of comic covers for IDW and Titan. And he said in that recent DWM interview that he thinks that the 70s horror aesthetic of either Seeds of Doom or Image of the Fendel would lend themselves well to new illustrations or perhaps even a missing episode or story. And there are tentative plans in the works to perhaps illustrate another couple of adventures, depending on how sales of this one go. So
Cool.
But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's, hardcover, kind of a premium. It's just a beautiful kind of coffee table book.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it, especially if you're like an art collector.
Yeah.
And it also features an introduction by Neil Gaiman, which I think is the same introduction that was on as part of the most recent reprint of this. So Chris, you had mentioned Edinburgh.
Yes.
Speaking of, one of our stories this month is set in Edinburgh, from the Wintertime Paradox.
Yeah, indeed. Yes.
Which is an anthology by Dave Rudden. And for more information about Dave, do check out our interview with him from back in October of 2020. We cover the writing process for both this book, as well as his first anthology, 12 Angels Weeping, and a number of other topics as well. Yeah. And he also contributed recently to the Origin Stories, that anthology. Penning a few of the tales for that collection. And of course, you can also check out his original Knights of the Borrowed Dark trilogy. Yeah. And he's based out of Dublin. He is. And he describes himself as a time-displaced Viking, which is not inaccurate.
Yes, not inaccurate.
So a couple more details about this particular book. It was first published in hardcover and ebook back in October of 2020. It's also available in audiobook form read by Sophie Aldred, and was released in paperback in October of 2021, and features woodcut-style illustrations by Alexis Snell, who also illustrated the previous anthology that Dave wrote. And the book opens with an introduction by the author where he references the terrible Zodin. And the book is dedicated to anybody who's ever been told that writing fan fiction is a waste of time.
Right. Shall we get cracking?
Yeah, let's start with Canaries.
Yes.
Which was the kind of the free story.
Yeah, so Canaries is not in the hardback. So if you're kind of listening to this and going, I don't remember a story called Canaries, you need to just go and just Google, I think, Wintertime Paradox Canaries. You should find it.
And we can provide a link in the show notes as well.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
And that was written to kind of loosely tie into the Time Lord Victorious multimedia event, and functions as a cold open to the collection. And I'm a bit miffed that in the paperback and in the audio it's placed as chapter 13, because it seems to work much better as an opener to the story.
Oh, completely. Yes.
But we can get into that a little bit more later.
Yes. Go on. So Canaries as a story. Oh, are we going to be doing TARDIS timers? Or?
Oh, yeah. Let me get that going here. We'll set it for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. I think some of these we may be under, some of these we may be over.
So this opens in a museum in a remote alpine town in Switzerland. And this is one of those little museums that someone has like in their front room of their house.
Yeah, and it's a real town, Verbier. It's a real place.
Have you been? Or
No, I just Googled it because it was similar name to a place in Belgium that I have been to quite a bit. And so I was thinking, oh, have we moved it? And no, it's a real place, just totally different.
This museum has like alternate history artifacts, including like an Adolf Hitler coin from like 1954. Adelaide Brooks's biography. She was the astronaut from Waters of Mars. Yeah. And then also a Toclophane sphere. It's kind of run by this elderly woman named Anchor, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And she's got, shall we say, a curious relationship with the Doctor, as every now and again incarnations of the Doctor will call her, but it's not as if the Doctor works with her. I think the Doctor is just aware of her as a collector and as a presence.
And he kind of keeps warning her, hey, you shouldn't be collecting these things.
Yes.
And I think this is where our dramatic reading for the month comes in, read by the ubiquitous Sophie Aldred, and part of the audiobook version of the story, which is available on Audible and Audio CD as well as other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a listen.
Inside the box are 2 masks. The note with them reads, "Worn by a long-forgotten cult who worshipped impossibility and contradiction." Anchor lifts the masks out carefully. The first is male and made of silver. The second is female and gold. The faces they depict would be beautiful, if not for a certain subtle quirk to their features. A slyness, a dispassionate cruelty, like trickster gods from an old myth. They make Anchor uneasy. Summer turns to winter. The stream of tourists slows. Anchor begins work on a plinth for the masks. It is hard work, and she takes many breaks, carving an old log to create the shape she sees in her head. It is foolishness, she knows, but when she places the masks upon it, she imagines they are pleased with her work, spirits receiving tribute. In the evenings, she makes minute adjustments to her cue cards and tries to find any mention of a cult who might have worn such masks, or any clues as to who might have sent them to her. Anchor has reached the end of her life's savings. It is likely that the masks will be the last exhibit she ever owns. One night in November, the Doctor calls again. This time, the sounds of battle are fiercer, and the voice is smooth and rich. There is a touch of the pirate in it, or the poet, and Anchor, dry and scowling, cannot help but imagine what the man behind it looks like. "Anchor, Doctor here. I need you to—" "I have told you," Anchor snaps. "These exhibits are mine. I protect them." "There are fractures in time, Anchor. Someone is causing time to skip, like a needle on a record. These things you have collected, they're canaries. Canaries in a coal mine. Proof that something is wrong, that dark times are coming." "Proof," Anchor says. The word comforts her. She had hoped. "Then I must keep them safe. From everybody. From you. Listen to me. Those relics are like thorns poking into our reality. Keeping all of them together might cause a tear, a fracture. Something could come through, Anchor. And I don't know what that might be." The masks gleam in the corner of the room. "Good," Anchor snaps, and hangs up the phone. Christmas Day in Verbier is white and red and stubbornly evergreen. The ringing of bells echoes off the mountain, and, as always, Anchor eats her modest Christmas dinner at her little kitchen table, trying not to look at the extra place she has set. 20 years. It has been 20 years. "Next year I will not set it," she thinks, as she thought the year before. Next year. That night, a storm breaks over the mountain. The first crash of thunder is so loud that Anchor is out of her bed before her bones remember they are old. Lightning cracks the sky, bright enough to leave a memory of itself in her eyes, bright enough that it slices through the swirling snow. It is not the thunder that woke her, Anchor realises. The phone is ringing. She staggers downstairs, shrugging on her housecoat. Another peal, and Anchor has to grab the banister to keep from falling. The thunder feels like it is shaking the house apart, and yet, despite the apocalyptic crash and roar, the artificial chirp of the phone cuts through. By the light of the slashing lightning, Anchor picks her way through the darkness. The wind has broken a window, and now snow is piling beneath it. Plinths have toppled in the gale. Flakes of white are everywhere. The tapestries have fallen off the wall. My exhibits! My treasures! She runs to the 12th plinth, and it is only when the battered old photo frame is safe in her hand that she crosses to her desk and answers the phone. Anchor! It is not a voice she has heard before, and yet she knows immediately who it is. Doctor? Not anymore, the voice says. It is an old voice, deep and warm as a mine, rich as Christmas, and twice as kind. Now, I'm really more of a curator. Like you, Anchor. And you must listen to me now, because we do not have much time.
Thank you much, Sophie, for reading that.
Thank you, Sophie.
Which doctor called prior to the curator? I feel like the first phone call was the 11th doctor.
Yeah.
And then the second caller was described as both sounding like a pirate and a poet.
Is that the 8th?
Yeah, the TARDIS wiki lists the 8th, but I don't know that you can really definitively say. It could just as easily have been kind of that Uber doctor from the end of 12 Angels Weeping, too.
Yes, yeah, or could be Peter Angelides' doctor. Like, the poet bit makes me think that it's the 8th, but yeah, I mean, I guess maybe there were some Liverpudlian pirates in the UK. If I tend to think of a pirate, they have a bit of a West Country accent.
Kind of like that we never find it's mentioned that she's like setting the table for someone, possibly the same person in the photograph that's kept on the 12th plinth.
Yes.
And maybe like her partner fell through a crack in time at one point. It's just, I like how that's open-ended and we don't really get an answer to that.
Yeah, I do as well. It's yeah, there's enough tantalizing stuff in here that I think would make you want to read the rest of the collection.
And some of the artifacts that I referenced do pop up from time to time in the anthology, and this story ends with the two masks, which are going to be her 13th exhibit, eerily floating in space as if they're being worn by someone invisible or pulling them through.
Yes, and then there is kind of like a scream, isn't there? So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything you'd say about
No, I
Canoes?
just really enjoyed it.
We got about 30 seconds left, so we're doing good on time.
Okay. Cool.
I'll go ahead and reset the timer.
Yep.
And this brings us to the first official story in the collection.
He's Behind You. Nice panto reference for you for Christmas. So the 10th Doctor is taking Rose to a place called Mask Majestrix to see a play about the Time Lords, which Rose finds hilarious because like they're all wearing silly hats. And so that's not what Time Lords do. They don't wear these daft robes or anything like that. Yeah, and the play is very much getting the wrong end of the stick because you have someone playing like the hand of Meg.
Yeah, instead of Omega, yeah.
Yes.
There's also a reference to Rose hooking up an MP3 player so she can listen to Destiny's Child in the TARDIS, which is so early 2000s.
Yes, yeah.
And it ties in a bit to our selection last month, too, where there's like a power vacuum left by the Daleks and the Time Lords. But here it's like a musical theater speculation about like what happened to the Daleks and what happened to the Time Lords. And here it turns out that this whole thing has been an elaborate trap, which some Autons have set up to like spring for the Doctor.
Is it for the Doctor specific or Time Lords in general?
Yeah, I assumed it was just the Doctor, but yeah, it could have been for any remaining Time Lords too. Yeah,
and the Doctor, realising that everything is kind of pretty much plastic, does quite a bit of improvisation to try to defeat the Autons, and Rose dragged up onto centre stage where she tells the audience about the arrogance of the Time Lords and their fall, which kind of blows the Autons' minds, causing them to melt.
And we also have some of the actors that they're working with don't realize that they've been replaced by Autons.
Yes.
So you get some good commentary on the nature of acting and pretending. And I also like that this is set pretty soon after the Doctor regenerates in
Yeah.
The Christmas invasion, or at the beginning of that.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of good scenes of Rose kind of working her way through her feelings about his change and the Ninth Doctor's sacrifice for her. And I think Braxiatel gets a mention too.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the strengths of this collection generally is the emotional pull. We do see more emotion, I would say, from Rose than possibly we might normally. Certainly emotional exploration. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
We also have a fun little epilogue where we encounter a girl and boy in the theatre. Both of them are wearing masks, and they seem to have been using the Autons to find survivors of the Time War for some reason.
And it's implied that they're like siblings or brothers, and sister.
Yes.
And I was getting a little bit of kind of Swarm and Azure vibes from them a little bit, but of course this was written, well before Flux, and they're much younger, like they're in their early teens, but that kind of dynamic.
Yeah. Lauren was kind of getting a bit of a Family of Blood vibe.
Oh, yeah.
When I was describing it to her.
Yeah, and that's the first of, I think there are 3 total little interstitial moments like that kind of sprinkled throughout the collection.
Yeah.
And I've never been to a panto before. They aren't as well known in the States, but I've seen clips of several online over the years and such. So.
Yeah. It is a thing that happens.
And pretty much exclusively around Christmas time too, right? Or is it?
Yes, completely around Christmas time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you get some for varying audiences, but by and large it is intended for families. And for most theatres, it's how they get their revenue for the year.
Also heard like, there's the timer. I've also heard that like soap stars and like reality TV stars will often have bit roles in the productions too, or sometimes major roles.
Major roles, yeah. More often than not, you would have like a famous person. There was Panto that I went to in Torquay entirely because Colin Baker was in it as Captain Hook. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. I will reset the timer.
Yes.
And our next story is called Father of the Daleks.
Yeah.
And the illustration is of Davros.
Yes. So Davros and the 11th Doctor find themselves meeting up at Christmas on various different planets.
It's the 11th Doctor this meeting, but it's the first time Davros has seen his face, so...
Yeah, that's true, okay.
Apparently, the Doctor and Davros have been having these Christmas meetings on different planets, and the Doctor wears different faces.
Yes.
And I wonder if no companions and kind of a long coat with the 11th Doctor makes me think that this might be set around the time, prior to the Snowmen, when he was traveling on his own, after losing Amy and Rory.
Yeah. Well, we also find out that there's like a truce that's agreed for these Christmas meetings, whereby the Doctor doesn't bring any weapons. I do wonder, as part of the truce, he doesn't bring any companions. I had a feeling that it might be early on in the 11th Doctor's run.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of like left to your imagination. But basically, over the course of these meetings, the Doctor is hoping to persuade Davros to kind of like change the Daleks, if not himself, but like Davros, though, refuses.
It's kind of the same tactic he took with, what's his name, from A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
Gosh, I'm blanking on his...
Michael Gambon.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And on one Christmas visit, Davros sort of encounters... Well, there's a Dalek raid that goes somewhat awry, and Davros is then ambushed by various Daleks, though he's also kind of like said that he is going to change this time. And the Doctor makes his presence known and says that he would let the Daleks exterminate him if first they kill Davros. And you're like, okay. And the Daleks like this offer, so they try to shoot Davros. But there's a self-destruct mechanism that Davros has built into these particular Daleks that blow them up for trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's happening like during a raid or a battle between the Daleks and the Krillitane over invisibility technology.
Yeah.
And there's a great line that Davros says to the Doctor when he first meets the 11th Doctor, where he says, your casing doesn't matter to me, Doctor. I never forget who I'm looking at.
Yes.
And I also like the point that the Doctor makes about everyone bringing their own meaning to Christmas. And he says whether that's family or religion or just being halfway out of the dark.
Yeah.
It's kind of a good comment, too. And we even, the Spider Daleks even get a nod
Yes.
at one point.
Yeah, this is a great standoff. And also, yeah, I really did enjoy this story. Sorry, I'm getting inarticulate. This was just great fun.
It was, and it also features the wonderful line by the Doctor, "I'm always surrounded, I'm always unarmed, and that's where I do my best work."
Yes. Yeah, it feels so 11th, doesn't it?
So we've got about 30 seconds left, so I'll reset.
Yeah, and shall we move on to Inflicting Christmas?
So this is one where the 12th Doctor and Bill are attending a futurism conference in Dublin. And this is late in Series 10 for Bill because Empress of Mars gets a mention. And we get lots of details about the Dublin Convention Center. And it seems like a real place that the author has visited.
Yes.
And the Doctor's there because he's on the lookout for young inventors who he says are impatient for the future to arrive. And we're introduced to a woman named Ademi Lawa, who has invented a memory hologram projector which uses hard light, similar to like a holodeck.
Yeah.
And she uses she has a TED Talk or something about it, and uses a Christmas memory from her own past to illustrate how the technology works.
And Bill kind of goes off for a wander and finds herself encountering various pterodactyls and other stuff. And to cut a medium story shorter, it turns out that Adiemi's son Carl has created his own little holographic world that's been leaching into the convention centre. Carl is not necessarily a good guy.
And it's kind of like a holographic winter wonderland sort of setting, which is the Christmas tie-in.
Yes, it is.
And we get a prescient Elon Musk Twitter reference.
Yes, we do, don't we? Yes.
Even though this is set like a decade in the future.
Yes.
So who knows if the platform will even still be around by then.
Who knows if it's going to be around by next month. See if it survives the World Cup.
But Bill gets kidnapped by one of these holographic pterodactyl creatures. And part of the story is the Doctor and Adiemi have to sneak into the conference room and try and rescue her and, make their way through a bunch of holographic things. And then the mom and son reconcile, and the mom apologizes for overreacting. This one is actually one of my least favorites of the collection.
Yeah, I would say so.
But even so, it has really good characterization, between the 12th Doctor and Bill. But I was just hoping for a little bit more substance. This one was more of like a straightforward, like rescue the companion sort of adventure.
But it definitely does some great 12th Doctor lines. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but it very much felt of its time.
And if this is the lowest point of the collection, or it kind of speaks to the strength of the rest of the stories too.
Yes,
because
the quality
on its surface, this would be totally fine in any other collection.
Oh yeah. Just in summary, if I was to describe it to someone, I would say it's kind of a cross between Fear Her and The Mind Robber.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have anything more on Inflicting Christmas.
I don't either, so we shall...
Yes, though it's not the last we'll see of Dublin.
Oh.
Yes, you might not have realised.
I did not.
No. Okay.
All right, so shall we go on to the next story?
Yes.
I'll reset the timer.
Yeah. So our next story is... For the girl who has... Oh, I've got it as For the Girl Who Has Anything. Is that correct? Or is it
the girl who has everything? Or
everything? Okay, yeah. So seeing it in my notes, thinking that looks wrong. We meet Osgood, who is early on in her time at unit, and she's working late underneath the Tower of London on Christmas Eve. And she thinks that she's alone, but something has escaped from the Grey Archives. And in fact, she has to deal with a series of Sontaran clones. And while she's kind of like hiding from them, she receives an incoming call from Luke Rattigan. And if that name rings a distant bell, he's the American tech kid from the David Tennant Sontaran story.
Yeah, and like you said, this is definitely the human Osgood, as she's only been working for UNIT for about a month.
Yeah.
And she's working on Christmas Eve, and there are 4 archives that are placed under the Tower in London. So in addition to the Black Archive, which we're familiar with, this is the Grey Archive, but she also references the Red and the Blue Archives.
Yes.
So I don't know how deep their headquarters under London, the Tower, goes. But
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Osgood mentions that her father didn't work for UNIT, but others in her family have.
Yeah, so that suggests that the Osgood from the Third Doctor time is possibly her uncle, which has also been suggested elsewhere. Though we've also, I think we've read stuff where it's been implied it's her dad, or explicitly stated. So.
And we also learned that she has a sister named Nova.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, Chris, the Sontaran cloning pool from the Sontaran stratagem reactivates. And
Yes.
I found it a little funny that the episode title's referenced, because I would have thought that UNIT might have labeled this as like the Atmos incident or something something a little bit less on the nose than the episode title itself.
Yes. Well, it helped me, I have to say, because I was thinking, who's Luke Raskin? I recognise that name.
So this cloning pool generates 4 imperfect clones because it's trying to work on nearly silent power, and it doesn't have good DNA to replicate. So we get one really tall Sontaran who must be from the 2 Doctors.
Yeah.
And Luke Radigan gets replicated as well, but again, it's like an imperfect copy.
Yeah.
And we also learn that this Grey Archive is folded space, so it's like it's dimensionally transcendental.
Yeah.
It's only like the filing cabinet corridors. It's like the rest of it. So you can kind of like walk around the dimensionally transcendental bit.
Yeah.
And Osgood ends up taking the clones out one by one using different artifacts that she discovers, including one of the clones she kills by modifying a gravity bubble engine from Victory of the Daleks, turning it into like an implosive landmine.
Yeah.
And another clone gets its memory wiped by Osgood.
Yeah. And speaking of clones, we realise that Luke is another clone himself, because the original Luke Raskin died in the Sontaran stratagem. And like, this Luke eventually sacrifices himself to kind of save today. One little thing I would say is that there are a couple of times where I had to reread some of like the penultimate page of a couple of stories just to kind of go, oh, that's what that happened. Okay. And like this was one of them. I was like, okay. But we also see Kate Lethbridge-Stewart making an appearance, and she's being very serious, but also kind of like Osgood is expecting she's going to get fired, and but instead it's like, no, do you want to kind of like come and work for me a bit more directly? Because it's Christmas, Kate Lethbridge-Stewart is wearing a Christmas jumper with "Oh Chemistry" written on it,
which sounds like something she would wear.
Yes. Yeah, I can imagine her wearing it and looking furious. It's brilliant.
Yeah, this is one of the highlights of the collection for me. It felt like Die Hard, Doctor Who's version of Die Hard with Osgood in the Bruce Willis role. Yeah, and Osgood wasn't even working with UNIT at the time when the Sontaran incidents happened. But she recognized Luke because she did her homework and read up on a lot of the UNIT case files and such over the years. And
yeah. Well, I think Luke would have been slightly famous anyway. That was the impression I got from him.
Oh, yeah, true.
So, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, not Elon Musk level fame.
but up there, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
This was a good one.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was the TARDIS timer.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
We'll reset and...
Yeah.
This takes us to visiting hours.
Yes. We see Rory being dropped off by the Doctor at Stormcage because he's going to visit River, because he does this every Christmas. And this time Amy's not with him because she's looking after her mum, who's kind of under the weather. So the Doctor is there keeping respectful distance, which does make me wonder how this works, because like it's time you could do this whenever. Hey ho. I mean, I would say there's a bit of a plot to this, but I think the main pull of this is actually the emotional part. There's a scientist who escapes, and with River's help, she's dealt with everything. But for me, the core thing in this story is the emotional passages.
Yeah.
Between Rory and his daughter. Because it's this reminder, River Song is his daughter. And I certainly felt that given that Rory, we're told in the story that Rory's always wanted children, this situation must just be so heartbreaking for him. And it's just... and also as well, Dave Rudden writes Rory and the Doctor solo stories really well. Because he did that last time. Anyway, was there anything on the plot you wanted to say?
I would just say that there's a prison a psychiatrist named Dr. Chill.
Oh, yes.
Who wants to publish a case study on River. And there's this prison break attempt, but we learn it was all engineered by Chill as a way to try and integrate himself with Rory and River to glean information from them.
Yeah.
But they figure it out and stop him. And there's an interesting line where Rory mentions that he met River before he even conceived her, which is kind of a mind-blowing kind of thing. And it's good to see proper old-fashioned use of the word panopticon here to mean, not the Gallifreyan meaning, but the original meaning of the word. I also find it interesting that the focus is on Rory here and not Amy. More than once, we've read books that focus on Rory more because he's the underserved companion. Yeah. But I don't think we've read anything where Amy is like at the heart of it all. And I wonder if that's just because of the coincidence based on the books and stories we've happened to pick, or if that's like a focus for most authors doing extended media because Amy is more of a focus in the televised stories.
Yeah.
And almost like it's some sort of overcorrection, not specific to any one author, but it seems to me that would be a natural thing to focus or flesh out on if it hasn't been depicted on screen.
Yeah, I would say, because you're more likely to be going on fresh ground, aren't you? So
there's a great line in this where this is River to Dr. Chill at the end, where she lays out the actual truth, but in such a disbelieving way that I don't think the psychiatrist even believes her. Where River says, "Why, you could have been making them say anything. I could tell you that I'm a child of a TARDIS raised by a fanatical church to kill the universe's last Time Lord. But instead I married him and faked his death. And now I use your prison as free accommodation while he takes me out on dates. And you wouldn't be able to publish a single word." Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this one too. And
yes.
Likewise for me, it was the emotional beats of it that really...
Yeah.
I mean, the prison break and stuff was fun, but the through line for me was the emotional aspects of it.
Yeah. I won't remember the plot machinations, but I'll remember the emotional parts.
And we've got 10 seconds left, so I'll reset. Cool. And we have a second little interstitial.
Oh, yes.
Where the psychiatrist Chill awakes to two masks floating in his room. And the siblings want to learn more about River. And they mention several timelines where Chill died, either at River or Rory's hands. And this was actually one of the more unique timelines where he was still living.
Yeah.
And he finds a synaptic node at the back of his neck, similar to what he has implemented with his guards. So his autonomy's been taken away by these two mysterious siblings.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll reset.
Yes, let's.
And that takes us to We Feed You to the Trees.
Yes.
Which is a 7th Doctor story. And this is the first time the narrative shifts, I believe, in the collection from third person to first person.
Yes.
And we have a woman telling this story.
Though we don't realise she's a woman for a while in, I would say.
Yeah, because there are references to her wife.
Yes, yeah.
And it's I guess, a very religious colony where books are banned, and the forest advances every year, and there's a human sacrifice that dates back to before the colony was established to try and keep the creeping forest at bay.
Yes, and they have a concept of siege and succor. Siege is winter and succor is summer, and each year siege is longer. And the narrator is responsible for taking people in to the woods for them to be left, fed to the trees. The narrator has been chatting with the doctor, but the doctor makes such an impression on her that even though she's left the doctor, she decides to head back and then finds the forest growing all around her, trying to stop her going forwards. There's also giant armoured creatures that are kind of like wandering around. The Doctor, when the narrator arrives, persuades her to attack the roots, which turn out to be cables. Because we have a twist. It turns out that this is a colony, and there's a kind of like an artificial intelligence that's wanting to protect the trees, and the artificial intelligence has been malfunctioning and is requiring servicing. And the Doctor repairs the AI and realises that it's been putting these villagers have been sent off for sacrifice into the uniform. And like originally the AI would only have like a person for a year helping, and then it just somewhat got confused over time, has just been keeping them. And with the AI having been fixed, it realises only one guard is needed. And so all of the other armours open up to reveal various villages that have been taken over the years. And the narrator decides that she will act as the AI's guard for this coming year, because she's only going to be away for a year, and she thinks she can do that.
And these forest servants or gardeners reminded me quite a bit of the robots on Laputa in Castle in the Sky, and kind of how they were described. And it was very much like a terraforming system gone wrong. Yeah. But it was really cool that all of the villagers who have been sacrificed over the years, you cut open these forest servants and they haven't aged at all. Yeah. And it's kind of a very bittersweet ending, because she also releases her partner. So she's an elderly woman, but she's much older now. So you've got that.
Yeah. I loved this one. This is, I think for me, this was probably my favourite in the collection. Just because one of the things is that we see the Doctor through other people's eyes. Like the narrator sort of says at one point that they felt that the Doctor was like a big deal somewhere, but possibly not here. But sure, you could look at this and say, yes, it's a bit of a retread of the Face of Evil and various other things like that. This did just sweep me up. But yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and it really captured kind of that melancholy sadness, and where there's the sweetness. And I was trying to think too, how many times have we seen sentient forests, or in Doctor Who stories? And I could think of, we have the Mark of the Rani, the Forest of Cheam.
Yes, we've got the 12th Doctor
in the Forest of the Night.
Yes, yeah.
And then I think on Androzani Major as well.
Yes. There's also short story, isn't there, of Leela and trees coming to life. So I think, a fair bit.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that flora and fauna might, evolve separately. Yeah. So I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more plant-based creatures, I guess.
Yeah. Vervoids.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Crinoids. Or crinoids.
Yeah, this is a great one. Cool. Well, I will reset the timer. It went off there.
Okay. Now we are going to have Christmas with the Plasmavores, which takes us back to Dublin.
Ah. So
because
I didn't catch that this one.
Yeah, so we encounter Catherine Sullivan and her dad Maurice, and Maurice has bought her some stuff from Temple Bar, which is an area of Dublin. It's a subtle reference,
and I should have caught that from my days as being a U2 fan back in the day.
Okay, yeah,
and Temple Bar in Dublin.
Yeah, so Catherine and her dad they are visited by a family whose car is broken down. And the family are Henri and Madeleine Plasmavore and their daughter Amélie, and they are French.
And both of the parents are acting very strange and almost robotic.
Yes.
And the girl is very creepy.
Yes, but they keep on explaining by saying, "Oh, we're French."
And there's no real twist here, because it's spoiled in the title that, the parents are both slabs, which are the kind of the servant robots that we caught a glimpse of in Smith and Jones.
Yeah, but they also keep on saying, Amélie can't have anything with any salt in it. And Amélie wants to go and see Catherine's room. And Catherine's mother had died about 6 months ago. And so Catherine is still getting over that. She's very protective of her dad as well. but she's also like, oh, maybe we're going to have a sleepover. I don't know what a sleepover is. And you just kind of feel that poor Catherine, she's just been isolated since her mum died, or even probably before. So she's trying to be what she thinks of as normal. And then you've got Amelie there saying, I'm a blood-sucking alien.
And I brought a straw.
Yes, yeah. And Catherine and her dad end up being kind of captured. And her dad manages to kind of trick Amelie into eating salt.
Or even spilling salt on her because she's reaching for like something at the top of the cupboard, and he's like, well, you don't want that. And she's like, yeah, I do. And I mean, this is a properly creepy tale where at one point, Amelie, this kid, starts crawling around on the ceiling like a demon or something.
Yeah. And Amelie, because she's been exposed to salt, she suddenly starts dying, and then the slabs deactivate. And then a doctor arrives, possibly the fourth doctor, and just pops in and says, oh, you've got the slabs deactivated. Oh, brilliant. And then he just realises Catherine and Maurice are tied up on chairs, and you almost get the feeling he might then just wander off and do something else.
And I'm not sure why, like, the wiki entry for this one says it was the fourth Doctor, but there's absolutely no indication in the story that that's the case. The only descriptors are wide, wild eyes.
Yes.
And frantic hands.
Yes. Well, when I read it, I saw wide, wild eyes, I just thought of Tom Baker. But it is entirely left to your imagination.
When I think of Tom Baker, I think of that scene from the Who's Doctor Who documentary where he's like glittering like a bulb and he's shaking his hand.
Yeah.
But this one was creepy. It was fun. It was also Christmassy. The daughter reminded me a little bit of the girl in the Jadoon story.
Yeah.
Where she's kind of left to her own devices for the most part, and doesn't have a lot of friends, and also set in Dublin, I think. That one.
Yes, but yeah, I found this very moving. I have to say, just how Catherine cares for her dad, how she worries about him, and because it just makes me think. Because often there's a kind of like the parent-child bond kind of switches. So the parent starts looking after the child, and then eventually in time the child will begin looking after their parent. And she's doing this at the age of 12. And it just, this really got me. There's another one of my favourites in the collection.
Both the ending and the building tension reminded me quite a bit of the Isaac Asimov short story Rain, Rain, Go Away, which involves people made of sugar who are terrified of water. Very gingerly filling up a glass. And because they don't want to spill it. And it was interesting that there was so much, having to do with the salt, because we never really got that in Smith and Jones, that the salt level had to be very carefully regulated, not too much, not too little. Otherwise you shrivel up like a sea slug.
Yes.
Right. Well, that was the timer, which brings us to one of my favorite stories of the collection.
Cool.
A Girl Called Doubt, where Cybermen have invaded the planet of Agrippina, which, if that planet sounds a little familiar, that's the same planet from 12 Angels Weeping, in the story Ghost in the Machine. And it's the same 11th Legion of Cybermen that we saw in that story.
Also, as well, Agrippina is in real life was the mother of Nero. Emperor Nero. It's got nothing to do with this story, but I just want to throw that in there.
Cool. We open on a resistance squad, and we learn a little bit about each of the members. It's a 5 or 6 person squad, and one of the members of the squad is a young woman who goes by the name Doubt. And this one is written in present tense third person, which, can I just reiterate how much I do not like present tense? It was similar to how the Stonehouse was written.
Yes.
But I do appreciate the author, changing it up a little bit between the stories, but I did have to mention that.
Okay.
And they're kind of going around Agrippina, almost on cleanup duty, where you have everything desolate and destroyed, and you get scenes of half-destroyed Cybermen who are missing big chunks of their body, repeatedly knocking on doors and just doing weird rundown things.
Yeah.
And in one case, it was actually a trap where that one of the Cybermen who was I think, knocking on a post office. And they try like throwing a knife at it, and it spins and catches the knife, which is a really creepy scene.
Yeah.
And one of the nice things was that the author included a non-binary resistance fighter, Raoul, with they-them pronouns and fabulously long hair. So that was a nice nod to inclusion there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this one for me, it really just kind of captured the sadness and desolation of conversion.
Yeah.
And we get to a point where this girl, Doubt, she keeps seeing flashes of silver out of the corner of their eye. And, she's following it and leading the squad, and they find their way to a cathedral, which is full of cybermites that are hanging like sleeping bees, which I thought that description was really evocative.
Yeah.
And then the fifth Doctor shows up, and we can be sure at least this is the fifth Doctor, because both his outfit colors and the stock of salary are referenced.
Yes, because Doubt hasn't actually seen anything green in quite some time, so Doubt is taken by the celery stick. And he's really interested in Doubt as a Doctor, and what she's doing with the Resistance, and he asks about her, and she says that all she can remember is that her mother and sisters were taken up the coast, but that's also what she was saying that she could remember when some of the Resistance people were talking about their lives before all of this. Because there's a twist.
Yep, and the twist is that Doubt is actually a Cyberman with fake implanted memories. And it turns out that each of these resistance squads has a Cyberman attached, and they're all called Doubt. And this kind of plays out in this horrific kind of self-realization, not dissimilar to what Bill had gone through in The Doctor Falls.
Yeah, and the human leaders are using them to kind of root out the last of the Cybermen. And the Doctor argues about the morality of this. And the human resistance leader of this little troop shoots Doubt. Whilst the row is spilling on, a whole host of cybermites swarm into Doubt's chest and repair her. And that's kind of where it ends. We don't know how the row resolves or anything.
Well, we do get the little nod that it... Oh, there's the...
Timer.
But we do get a mention that, once the cybermites all invade her, because the cybermen on this planet are looking for a leader.
Yes.
And they don't have one. And then so she tentatively tries to reassert herself and orders all of the remaining cybermen on the planet to start planting crocuses.
Yes, that's true.
That's how the story ends.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Potentially through that fluke of her dying in the cathedral underneath all those cybermites and having that realization that perhaps they've shaken off the last of the Cyberman control. But it is left very open-ended. We don't know if it's successful.
Oh, yeah.
Except we do. We find out that Agrippina is part of the Tiberian Spiral Galaxy, which gets referenced in Nightmare in Silver.
Ah, okay.
Which is the galaxy that Warwick Davis destroyed.
Yeah.
So, they may have won this and freed Agrippina from, cyber control. The quote from Nightmare in Silver is, "It used to be the Tiberian Spiral Galaxy, 1 million star systems, 100 million worlds, 1 billion trillion people. It's not there anymore."
Yeah.
But we don't know, when that explosion happens. It could be 100 years from the time of when the story is set, or it could be the next day. We literally don't know. So it does end on a little bit of a sour note to tie it back to Nightmare in Silver. But yeah, I really liked this. It was one of the favorites in the collection for me.
Yes, yeah. I found it beautiful and just desperately sad. And sometimes that's what Christmas is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that cheery thought, should we move on?
Yeah, we'll reset the timer.
Yep.
And this brings us to A Perfect Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Paternoster Gang special, as they're preparing for another Christmas, and it's 1 year on from the 12 Angels Weeping story, where Vastra had to deal with a rehatched Silurian, and that ended up causing some tension between her and her wife Jenny. And Strax is trying to organise Christmas in a fairly menacing manner, and have to persuade him not to try to kill the butcher and things like that. Strax is given a pickpocket's coat by the Scotland Yard Commissioner. There's a pickpocket that's operating, and they would like Vastra to kind of like look into it and try and solve the mystery. Then a teenage girl called Madge breaks into the Paternoster gang's house to retrieve the coat. And she manages to grab a ruby that was in the coat and runs out.
And it's something that Madame Vastra realizes was in the coat, and she removed it herself.
Okay.
And then at some point the girl steals it from her.
Yes.
And she's like a ginger girl with lots of red hair. And then at one point we learn that this jewel actually has a TARDIS key embedded inside it.
Yes.
And judging by the illustration, it's a plain Yale key like the new series uses. And not my preferred version of TARDIS key depictions, but makes sense with the story and that it was stolen from the Doctor's grave. And it was something that the Papal Mainframe is very interested in recovering, so much so that they send giant cyborgs to Earth to try and recover it.
Yes.
And the cyborgs were very much giving me A Town Called Mercy vibes. And I wonder if the cyborgs were patterned after that same type of model.
It's Tasha Lem's ruby, isn't it?
Yes, yep.
But yeah, so there's quite a bit of back and forth with the Papal Mainframe folks, and Vastra decides to return the ruby to the church, realising that it was all they wanted, because obviously relations between the Paternoster gang and the church's Papal Mainframe are not great. But so it does leave a bit of a question as to why the ruby was in Victorian London. Vastra thinks that it was all an elaborate ploy to capture the TARDIS, but thankfully they didn't summon the Doctor. And then we have a post-credits scene where we learn that Madge was responsible for all of this, and also that Madge is one of the two masked figures that we've been seeing, appearing.
The female sibling kind of posing as the street urchin. To set up this trap. And there's also an interesting bit of timey-wiminess in that this story is explicitly dated to be 1885. And apparently A Good Man Goes to War is in 1888. And so therefore the Paternoster gang now have their own dating controversy. Or maybe this is a paradox? Or they could have had other encounters with the mainframe before.
They could have.
Because we don't really know, well, I mean, Strax supposedly dies in A Good Man Goes to War. But then is later revived in like a missing credits scene. But that the dating might be a little bit off there. I thought this one had good character development.
Yes.
Especially between Jenny and Vastra.
And Strax I found to be hilarious.
Oh, yeah. There's one point where he's really excited because Vastra says, we're dealing with the Papal Mainframe. We get to bring out the big weapons. And
yes. Yeah, and the fact that he can therefore just go killing. And he's like, ah! It's just... I enjoyed this one, I have to say.
It was another one of the highlights for me, and you get that very Victorian Christmas sort of feel from it. And at one point there's a line regarding children and Christmas where the narration says, "Children seem to have a natural talent for ritual whimsy." Which I thought was great. That was the timer.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll reset the clock. And that brings us to a story called Missing Habitus Frond.
Yes.
And, before seeing the illustration for this one, I was literally thinking, it was a shame that Missy wasn't in the 12th Doctor story. I would have liked for her to have appeared in this collection. I turned the page, and there's Missy staring at me from the illustration.
Yes.
So this takes us to Edinburgh in Christmas Eve 1909.
Yes.
Where Mr. Frond, who was recently fired as a police constable, is taking the train home to his wife, and he's going to have to explain why he was fired.
Yes.
When all of a sudden he finds Missy sitting in his seat.
Yes.
And so they have a bit of a conversation.
Yes. Great description of her. It was saying that she's a woman whose clothes say governess and her smile says snake.
Sophie Aldred had a lot of fun with her Michelle Gomez.
I bet she did. Yes.
So this one, there were some jewels stolen. It kind of opens with a notice about that.
Yeah, it's the Honours of Scotland, which is a real thing.
Hmm.
It's the Scottish Crown Jewels. Which we might see a reappearance of in May next year. Because they're using the coronation.
And the constable was fired because he was, rather than watching the alleyway where this raid was happening, where they were going to round up the jewel thieves, he decided to go get chips instead because he was hungry. There was also a missing red glove found at the scene of the jewel heist. And then the train stops because it turns out that there's been some sort of commotion on a train platform. And Missy and Mr. Frond rush out of the train to see, what's happened. It turns out that there's an unconscious body, and as they get closer, Missy reveals that this man has been murdered.
Yes.
And the man starts gushing blood and stuff. And we should mention, too, that from Missy's perspective, this takes place while the doctor is off on Beryllium with River.
Yes. Yeah, because she makes a throwaway reference. Habitus Front says, is that to the east? Is it to the west? No, it's up a bit.
And, I thought Dave Rudden really captured Missy's voice exquisitely here.
Yeah.
Frond and Missy go off on this trail, trying to chase down the jewel thieves.
Yeah.
It's slowly revealed that Missy is actually the jewel thief.
Yes.
And was working with this gang and had found this police officer as a convenient way to clear her name or give her an alibi.
Yeah.
And so she had this elaborate sequence planned where she's the one who actually murdered the guy on the platform using her hairpin when she bent down to look at him. And the detective eventually figures it out, but it's too late because they chase another jewel thief and he ends up throwing himself off the roof rather than confront Missy, or so Missy says, but the implication being that she's the one who tossed him off the roof. And and I guess the implication at the end being that rather than get the officer's job back, it's just much easier for her now to kill him and make it look like a murder-suicide, because they go back to the police station where he confronts the guy who had fired him earlier in the night. And then Missy ends up throwing her hairpin at this guy's throat, killing him.
Yeah. Well, Habitus Front's gone there because he thinks the only way, because he realises, oh, hang on, we might be suspects, because we're around where all these bodies keep on being found, is that he wants to sort of say to his former boss, look, there's been a series of murders. So I didn't think that she kills Frond. Maybe that's open to... But she's framed him for the murders.
At the end of the story, in the last sentence or two, she's removing her other hairpin, which makes me think that Frond isn't long for this world.
No.
She had this whole elaborate scavenger hunt planned, including fake DNA and all this stuff, and a twist that this cop's boss is actually his father.
Yes.
Was going to go through all of this, and then she ends up saying, oh, it's a lot easier, although a lot less fun than the scavenger hunt she had envisioned for herself.
Yeah. And we discover she's a big fan of Golden Age detective fiction as well. This was just brilliant.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have minded another interstitial scene after this one with the brother and sister watching in disbelief and awe and discussing how maybe Missy would be too chaotic for them and they can't work with her because she's not to be trusted.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that would have been fun.
That'd be cool.
And I would say, too, if you enjoy Missy as an investigative detective, check out her audio series from Big Finish, in particular The Broken Clock by Nev Fountain, where Missy Masters from Scotland Yard is on the scene in modern-day Manhattan trying to solve a series of murders that she's responsible for. So kind of similar to this one, but, modern-day setting.
Yes.
It's kind of a send-up of, Law and Order. It's really funny.
Brilliant. I'll look out for that.
All right.
So, next is A Day to Yourselves.
And this is set on Festivus, December 23rd, 2321.
Yeah. And the Ninth Doctor arrives on Festivus in the reception of a greeting card specialist on the planet Irene. And he's expecting to save the world, but discovers it's already been saved by a man with tall hair who left in a blue box. And that man left an envelope for the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah, and they say that it was left by a guy with big hair, a suit, and colorful trainers.
Yes,
so could be the 10th Doctor or potentially the 14th Doctor.
Yes, potentially. And the Doctor heads off to another planet, but discovers that there's already been a man who's appeared who's saved everything. And this was a guy in a bow tie who reversed the polarity. and he has also left an envelope.
In that second place, there was like this cult, and there were some funny scenes of like former cult members who are like, "Oh, I was in that old cult, but this new cult is much better." And
yeah.
And so, both the 10th and 11th Doctor have left the 9th Doctor some sort of greeting cards in like an envelope and Christmas cards.
Yeah.
And that reminded me a bit of Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon, where you had those, the invites being mailed out.
Yeah, and then on yet another planet, the Doctor finds himself under arrest by guards who'd been told to do so by a man with an angry accent. So I guess that's a 12th. And there's also a reference to a nice blonde woman. It would appear that various future Doctors are trying to ensure that the 9th Doctor has room to breathe and calm down. Because we learned that, this is not long after his regeneration. And he heads back to the TARDIS and he's sweeping up all of the mirrors that he broke after his regeneration. So did he go punching all the mirrors? That's the implication.
That is because what he does after he gets each of these greeting cards is he slides them under the door of a locked room.
Yeah.
And we later find out that room is the TARDIS wardrobe room. And all the mirrors in it are smashed.
Yeah.
Which, that syncs nicely with him looking in a mirror during the episode Rose and saying, pity about the ears.
Yes.
In response to the War Doctor saying he hopes that the ears are a bit of an improvement next time.
Yes.
I'm not sure how well this aligns with the 7 and counting box sets he's done for Big Finish now, but it'd be interesting if there's any references in those stories to like broken mirrors, because he really does kind of see himself for the first time in Rose.
Yes, and whilst he's sweeping up the mirror pieces, he finds a card from the greeting card specialist that features a blue and green planet with the slogan, "Wish you were here," which reminds him that even though Gallifrey has been destroyed, he still has a home of sorts.
Yeah, because I think he has been avoiding Earth in some capacity after what happened in the Time War.
Yeah.
And then this is like a good reminder from his other selves to take a load off and and go back to Earth and kind of rediscover yourself. And it's interesting that we get a total of 5 envelopes, and we're able to place 4 out of the 5, with the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th Doctors. But there's an additional card from someone who was referred to as a very nice man.
Yes.
And we don't know which Doctor that was.
Yeah.
So that's kind of left open-ended. The Capaldi version, he shows up at an intergalactic stamp convention hosted by a Vord.
Yes.
This one I thought was, again, kind of reflective and dealt with a lot of the guilt I'm sure the Doctor was feeling after thinking he destroyed Gallifrey. And enjoyed this one a lot as well.
Yeah.
Kind of a subversion of expectations.
Yes, I'd say. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Well, that takes us to the final story.
Yeah, Paradox Moon, which quite a few things have been bubbling under, come to the surface. We may well go over the 5-minute mark. Hopefully we won't too much, but there's a bit to get through. So we begin in the year that never was, and we meet Sibling Same, who is the boy in the mask. So whilst the John Sims Master is celebrating having conquered the world, Sibling Same thinks he's found a TARDIS.
This is in 2007 aboard the unit's floating ship, the USS Valiant.
Yeah.
And this story is comprised of 7 chapters that kind of flash back from various points in history with the present day, which is set in the Shadow Proclamation headquarters.
Yes.
Where we meet up with the 13th Doctor.
Yes.
And I'm very glad there's a story with her proper, because the Doctor's absent from quite a few of these stories. And we for sure don't see the first, second, or third Doctors. And then it's debatable as to which of the other. Pretty sure the 6th doesn't show up either.
Yeah, I'd say I don't think the 6th does.
But I felt Dave Rudden here captured Jodie's voice and mannerisms, perfectly. And so we have Sibling Same and Sibling Different.
Yes. Where different as the sister and same as the brother. And The 13th Doctor has arrived at Shadow Proclamation HQ, and she's come to answer a distress call. But curiously, the Shadow Proclamation didn't send it. And they're quite sure about this because their entire comms network has been taken out. And what's taken it out? A moon that has suddenly appeared, causing gravitational issues. And the Doctor is determined to investigate because the call that brought her here was like nothing that she'd ever heard before. Because it's like a word, a curse, a threat, paradox.
And these paradox agents are called ghosts of a timeline that never was.
Yeah.
And so the Doctor makes her way to the moon, leaving the TARDIS behind and going up there with 2 Shadow Proclamation guards, one of whom is like a sassy robot, and then the other one is a woman named May, who's like a Praetorian guard.
Yeah.
And they head up there to investigate further. And we learn that, and we may as well just say, faction paradox
Yes.
siblings, because we've been kind of dancing around that, but that's very much what these 2 siblings clearly are. And these faction siblings have been very busy scouting alternate dead timelines for TARDIS parts, building and growing their own TARDIS on the moon.
There's also, on the moon, there's a 20th century house for no obvious reason. And when May realises that the Doctor has realised that this is all built from TARDIS parts, and so May shoots the robot XB1, and May, the human Praetorian, reveals herself to be sibling different. So the sister, who was also the pickpocket in the Madame Vastra story. The Doctor can see that this TARDIS that's been assembled from all these different timelines is struggling because its parts are failing to connect, and it might actually blow up. And it turns out that it was the TARDIS that sent the paradox distress signal.
And it takes a lot of energy for sibling different to maintain corporeal form, because they're very much ghosting in and out of existence, because they're leftovers from a thread or a strand that no longer exists. Eventually, sibling same, they try to initiate the TARDIS. It's not working. It's falling apart in all these chunks. And sibling same sacrifices himself so that sibling different can live. Because otherwise they would have both, faded away into nothingness.
Yes.
And, there's the timer.
There's the timer. Oh,
and then... And then May, or sibling different, is left with a choice. The Doctor says at the end, I can drop you off wherever. You can, assume May's life. Hopefully you didn't kill her. And, she elects to leave the Doctor at the end, exiting the TARDIS and taking her chances with the Shadow Proclamation. And I don't really have any idea where Yaz or the others are, Graham and Ryan, although the Doctor does kind of mention the fam in passing.
Yeah.
But they aren't in the story proper.
Yeah. I don't think there'd been room for them because there's so much that there's so much to do. But it was an enjoyable end, and also as well just such a clever idea. I think having the TARDIS send a distress signal, and I did enjoy this one. I have to say.
Yeah, I thought it was a really satisfying conclusion to the anthology as a whole, and kind of brought together the different parts. And we kind of knew going in that faction paradox was involved, but had it been a surprise, I think that revelation would have been really cool, for readers who are familiar with that, those ranges and stuff, to see them back in Doctor Who proper, because I think this is the first reference to faction paradox in BBC licensed media since the Gallifrey Chronicles in 2005.
Yeah, almost certainly.
So it's, I think Obverse Books has been doing some faction paradox stuff as well, but this is very much like a different timeline or a different strain than those other...
Those fans,
Yeah.
So,
That's the collection. What did you make of this one?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. One thing was that there wasn't, if I think back to 12 Angels Weeping, there weren't too many out there stories, I felt. I'm just thinking about the one about the Sontaran falling to Earth.
Or the Cybermen, yeah.
Yeah, there aren't too many that are absolutely wild. But that said, there is good fun to be had. And like the Missy story and the Seventh Doctor with sacrifices. And there's also, there's some real texture. There's some real kind of like emotional punches. I'd say this is definitely a good book to read at Christmas time, and I will say at any time.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us in August and you think, I like the sound of it, you don't need to wait to Christmas. I think you'll still have a good time. The Christmas links are pretty thin in some cases. Yeah. The Paradox Moon, I think its Christmas connection is that it was happening possibly in December.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
I really, really enjoyed this one. And to your earlier point, I found this to be slightly less experimental in terms of narrative styles than the first volume.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Kind of gives more of a uniform tone and presentation throughout, although it is, switches up a little bit in terms of first or third person or present or past tense. And my least favorite story was probably the 12th Doctor and Bill one, but even so, that one was relatively strong.
Yes. Yeah, that would have stood out in some other collections we've read.
And I really like the moments chosen for where these short stories are placed. For example, Rose working, with a recently regenerated 10th Doctor, that just adds additional depth to what we see on screen. So I find Dave Rudden's really smart in choosing particularly when to set these stories in individual timelines, which isn't something we see a lot of other authors take that kind of care towards. I guess I wish there had been more interstitials with same and different, if not between every story, then maybe at least every other story. And along those same lines, not all of the stories in this book tie into the Faction Paradox storyline at all. Yeah. Like you mentioned, the through line here is Christmas. I guess it's okay that not all of these, tied into Faction Paradox specifically. Yeah. And the hardcover ends with an excerpt from 12 Angels Weeping, Daleks and the Third Wise Man, which takes place during the Time War and features the Nightmare Child. So there's a bit of a bonus content if you haven't read that story yet. Yeah, which I think was one of my least favourites, wasn't it? Yes. I think so. Yeah. Our previous ratings, we both gave the last one, 12 Angels Weeping. I went back and checked, an 8 out of 10. I think I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10 because I feel that it improves on 12 Angels Weeping. For me, the stories were even more engaging, if slightly less experimental. And it's solid and strong, and most of the stories either put a smile on my face or gave me some, intentional feels. Yes. And it's just a very satisfying effort, and I look forward to what Dave Rudden does next in the Whoniverse. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it an 8, but I did very much enjoy it. Though also as well, I think because I was reading this because I had the hardback, and so therefore I was having to read it at certain times just from a sheer logistics point of view, and so that's not the fault of the book. Oh no, I'll give it a 9. But it's just my experience of it was there were times where I was just having to sit down, right, okay, I have like 2 hours, I need to race through some of these, and that's just due to the sheer situation of having to read a book on a monthly basis. And it got me into, I think there were some that I really could have savoured more. So, but that's me. That's not the book. So it's a 9. It's a 9. Kind of had the same time constraints where I was thinking like, I'll do this, one story a night in the 12 days leading up to recording. And nope, it ended up over 2 days, 6 stories a day. Yeah. And I would have loved to have been able to space it out just to enjoy and savor them a little bit more. Yeah. And I think Canaries, as we were saying, functions much better as a cold open or a prologue. Oh, yeah. Because if you put it at the end, it creates this weird circular loop that doesn't work narratively with what happens in Paradox Moon. I'm not sure why the publishers did that. Yeah, but then again, it forms its own paradox, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it seems it's an odd choice. Yeah. Cool. Great. All right, so that's the Wintertime Paradox. Yeah. Shall we move on to listener feedback? Yes, let's. Yay, we have an email.
Yay!
We have Jason from North London.
Oh, okay.
And he writes, "Hello, chaps. Dropping you a quick line to say thanks for the podcasts and appreciate you for getting them out on a regular basis." Which can be challenging sometimes, but we've done it so far. He says, "I've listened to the book club since the original, way back in 2011, and you are doing God's work top tier."
Oh, that's lovely.
And he says, "As always, very much looking forward to your eclectic between-cycle picks." And then he says, "Although it appears Matt started early this go-round." Cheers, Jason.
Yeah.
So that was lovely. Thanks, Jason, for leaving us that note.
Yeah.
And listeners, you can write us at andwbcpodcast@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to read your feedback out on the air.
Yeah. There's nothing on Facebook. Nope.
Okay.
So,
listeners, we're also available on Facebook.
yes, we are.
Wish to drop us a comment there.
Yes.
And on Twitter, which seems to still be functioning as of now.
Yes, time of recording, yes.
We've heard from the Nerdstalgic podcast that Weapons of Past Destruction was a fantastic book and story, one of their favorites from the Ninth Doctor's run. We've heard from longtime listener Keith Say, 50DW50 on Twitter, who thanked us for the Weapons of Past Destruction podcast.
Yeah.
Cavan Scott liked our review of his book, Weapons of Past Destruction. Thanks, Kevin. And both Stephen James Walker of the Handbooks and Decades books and TV Companion, and Paul Scoons of the Comic Strip Companion and DVD and Blu-ray subtitles and the New Zealand Doctor Who fan club, liked our tweet from the other day celebrating Doctor Who Day. So
cool.
Always wonderful when the authors interact with us.
Yes. Slightly scary, but yes, lovely. Yeah.
And I think that brings us, Chris, to what we're reading for January.
Yes, it does. So, because 2023 is a special year, because it's the 60th anniversary, so I wanted to start with what I hope is a special book. And I wanted to go for something that, harks back to what was happening 60 years ago, but also maybe an anniversary of its own. So this is my convoluted way of saying, Matt, we are going to be reading Shroud of Sorrow, featuring the 11th Doctor. And it's by Tommy Donbavand, I think is how it pronounces it. So it's the 11th Doctor and Clara. It also as well features something else that was happening in the world the day before Doctor Who's first episode aired.
Interesting.
What could that be?
Possibly covered in another novel we read.
Yes.
Very cool. And I think our first 11th Doctor and Clara, I think we've had one Clara story, but it was 12th Doctor.
Yeah.
Excellent. We still haven't gotten the Amy Pond expose.
No.
But that may wait for a future time. But
yes.
So Shroud of Sorrow.
Yes. Yes.
For January.
A tongue twister, yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, until next month, this has been Matt in Minnesota wishing you happy holidays and a festive new year.
And Chris in South London wishing you all of the above, and stay safe and happy reading.
Thank you for listening to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. Special thanks to George C. Music for use of their song Doctor Who Theme Swing Jazz Version. You can follow us on Twitter at ANDWBC Podcast and like us on Facebook. Help other listeners to find us by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. You can contact the show by emailing your thoughts to andwbcpodcast@gmail.com. And until next month, happy reading.
Hello. My question is sort of specific to an episode. You okay?
Nearly regenerated there. That would be a surprise, wouldn't it? You would really get your money's worth there. Hello, I'm Geordie.